Big stories, the king of pop has died.
Michael Jackson suffered cardiac arrest this afternoon.
On June 25th, 2009, the world lost Michael Jackson. But according to people who were closest to him, the story we were told may not be the complete truth. Former Bodyguards later revealed chilling details about his final hours, details that continue to raise questions even today. What really happened inside the Carrollwood mansion?
Coroner found that Michael Jackson died from acute intoxication of propofol.
Michael Jackson's death has always been surrounded by mystery. Despite being loved by millions, he also had powerful enemies. Over the years, several of his former bodyguards shared chilling stories about his life behind the scenes. Their shocking claims revealed fears, threats, and secrets that continue to raise questions about what really happened to the king of pop.
The 3 bodyguards he trusted with his life, speaking out for the first time.
The gathering shadow. From bitter conflicts to the events of his final hours, every testimony offers a glimpse into the reality of Michael Jackson's life before his death. In the early weeks of June 2009, away from cameras and public appearances, Michael Jackson was carrying a burden few people truly understood. The highly anticipated This Is It concert series was drawing closer, and with 50 shows scheduled in London, the pressure had become overwhelming. According to those closest to him, the king of pop was struggling physically and emotionally. Bodyguards Bill Whitfield and Javon Beard later described a man who appeared increasingly frail, exhausted, and isolated. Years of insomnia, financial stress, relentless media attention, and demanding rehearsals had taken a visible toll on his health. While millions of fans around the world eagerly awaited his triumphant comeback, those inside his private circle witnessed a very different reality. Behind the gates of his Carrollwood residence, exhaustion had become a constant companion, and the dream of a historic return was slowly turning into a nightmare. What followed would become one of the most shocking tragedies in entertainment history. Nightmare on Carrollwood Drive. On June 25, 2009, the quiet atmosphere inside Michael Jackson's Carrollwood home was suddenly shattered by panic and confusion. Security officer Alberto Alvarez was urgently summoned to Jackson's private bedroom, an area normally closed off to staff. When he entered the room, he encountered a scene that would remain etched in his memory forever. Dr. Conrad Murray was performing CPR on an unresponsive Michael Jackson. The singer lay motionless as frantic efforts were made to revive him. According to witness accounts, the atmosphere inside the room was filled with fear and desperation as the situation rapidly spiraled out of control. Moments later, emergency services were contacted. As Alvarez placed the call for help, the reality of the situation became impossible to ignore. The world's most famous entertainer was fighting for his life. Paramedics rushed to the mansion and immediately began advanced life-saving procedures. Despite their efforts, Jackson showed no signs of recovery. He was quickly transported to UCLA Medical Center while security personnel and family members followed behind. Inside the hospital, doctors worked relentlessly for more than 40 minutes, using every available resuscitation method in an attempt to restore a heartbeat. Outside the trauma room, security guards stood in silence, hoping for a miracle. That miracle never came. At 2:26 p.m., Michael Jackson was officially pronounced dead. For the men who had dedicated themselves to protecting him, the loss was devastating. An even more painful task remained, informing his children that their father was gone. Echoes of the final encore. Only hours before tragedy struck, Michael Jackson appeared to be preparing for the next chapter of his legendary career. On the evening of June 24, 2009, he arrived at Los Angeles' Staples Center for what would become his final rehearsal. Surrounded by dancers, musicians, and production staff, Jackson seemed energized and deeply focused on the performances ahead. Witnesses recalled him smiling, giving creative direction and rehearsing iconic songs, including Billie Jean and Earth Song. His vocals remained powerful and his famous moonwalk still captivated everyone watching. Director Kenny Ortega later remembered seeing an artist fully committed to delivering an unforgettable show. As the rehearsal came to an end shortly after midnight, Jackson thanked his team and left the arena in high spirits. Nobody present could have imagined that it would be the final time they would ever see him perform. The Midnight Journey. A convoy of black SUVs quietly departed Staples Center and headed toward 100 North Carrollwood Drive. During the drive home, Michael Jackson reportedly appeared relaxed and satisfied after a productive rehearsal. The French-style mansion waiting for him had become both a refuge and a place of increasing isolation. Although the property offered privacy from the outside world, a different atmosphere existed behind its walls. Only a small group of trusted employees remained on site, including personal chef Kai Chase and the children's caregivers. Waiting upstairs was Dr. Conrad Murray, who had been overseeing Jackson's treatment for chronic insomnia. Shattered timelines. As investigators pieced together the final hours of Michael Jackson's life, a troubling contradiction began to emerge. Dr. Conrad Murray stated that he had briefly left the room and later returned to find Jackson unresponsive with only a faint pulse. However, testimony from bodyguard Alberto Alvarez painted a far more disturbing picture. When Alvarez entered the bedroom, he observed that Jackson's eyes were open and his skin felt cool to the touch. Physical indicators suggested that the singer may have been unresponsive for a considerable period of time before emergency services were contacted. Forensic findings would later raise serious questions about the timeline presented by Murray. The discrepancy between witness testimony and Murray's account became one of the most controversial aspects of the investigation. Detectives and prosecutors focused intensely on the gap between what was claimed and what the evidence appeared to show. The unanswered questions surrounding those critical moments would continue to fuel speculation for years to come. The missing minutes. Among the most damaging issues examined during the investigation was the unexplained delay before emergency assistance was requested. Phone records showed that several calls were made during the period when Jackson was reportedly experiencing a medical emergency. According to witness testimony, valuable time passed before emergency responders were finally contacted. Alberto Alvarez later testified that he was instructed to gather medication containers and medical equipment before the 911 call was placed. Prosecutors argued that those precious minutes could have made a critical difference. Whether confusion, panic, or poor judgment played a role, the delay became a major focus of the criminal case. The frantic emergency call. Eventually, a desperate call for help was placed from inside the Carrollwood residence. The caller informed emergency dispatchers that Michael Jackson was not breathing and required immediate medical assistance. The recorded conversation captured an atmosphere of panic and confusion as instructions were given over the phone. As the dispatcher attempted to guide those inside the mansion through emergency procedures, it became clear that the situation was rapidly spiraling out of control. During the later trial, the recording was replayed in court and became one of the most powerful pieces of evidence presented to the jury. Sirens in Holmby Hills. Within minutes, paramedics from the Los Angeles Fire Department arrived at the mansion. Racing upstairs, they entered the bedroom and immediately began advanced life-saving procedures. Medical personnel quickly recognized the severity of the situation. Jackson showed no meaningful signs of recovery, and emergency crews worked relentlessly to restore cardiac activity. Monitors were attached, medications were administered, and every available measure was taken in an effort to save his life. Despite their efforts, there was little indication that the intervention would succeed. Nevertheless, protocols required paramedics to continue treatment as they prepared Jackson for transport to UCLA Medical Center. Silent transport. The ambulance departed Carrollwood Drive and headed toward UCLA Medical Center. Inside the vehicle, emergency personnel continued performing resuscitation procedures while monitoring for any sign of improvement. Outside, Los Angeles continued its normal routine, unaware that one of the most famous entertainers in history was engaged in a final battle for survival. Members of Jackson's security team followed closely behind, hoping for a miracle that seemed increasingly unlikely with every passing minute. Battle in Trauma Room 9. Upon arrival at UCLA Medical Center, Jackson was rushed directly into Trauma Room 9. A team of doctors, cardiologists, nurses, and specialists immediately launched an aggressive effort to revive him. Continuous CPR was performed while advanced medical equipment was used to support every possible life-saving measure. For nearly an hour, medical staff fought tirelessly to restore a heartbeat. Despite their expertise and determination, the outcome remained unchanged. As the afternoon progressed, the reality became impossible to ignore. At 2:26 p.m. on June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson was officially pronounced dead. The announcement marked the end of a life that had transformed the music industry and influenced generations across the globe. Heartbreak in the hallway. Outside the treatment area, family members waited anxiously for news. When the devastating announcement was finally delivered, emotions overwhelmed everyone present. Michael's children arrived at the hospital unaware of the tragedy that awaited them. Moments later, they were confronted with the unimaginable reality that their father was gone. Witnesses recalled scenes of profound grief. Hospital staff struggled to remain composed as family members reacted to the loss. The pain experienced by those closest to Jackson stood in stark contrast to the worldwide media frenzy already beginning outside the hospital walls. Disappearing evidence. As investigators turned their attention to the events inside the mansion, new questions began to surface. Witness testimony suggested that medication containers and medical equipment were handled before authorities arrived. Investigators examined allegations that items had been moved or concealed during the chaotic moments surrounding the emergency. Searches conducted at the residence uncovered significant quantities of prescription medications and medical supplies. Detectives carefully documented every item as they attempted to reconstruct the sequence of events that led to Jackson's death. The discoveries intensified public scrutiny and increased pressure on investigators to determine exactly what had occurred inside the bedroom that morning. The coroner's verdict. The following day, a comprehensive autopsy was conducted. Externally, examiners documented various medical conditions and physical characteristics that had long been known to the public. Internally, however, many of Jackson's major organs appeared relatively healthy for a man of his age. The most significant findings emerged from toxicology testing. Laboratory analysis revealed the presence of propofol along with several other powerful sedatives in Jackson's system. Based on these findings, medical examiners determined that his death resulted from acute propofol intoxication combined with other medications. The official ruling transformed the case from a tragic celebrity death into a criminal investigation with far-reaching consequences. Confessions and contradictions. As detectives questioned Dr. Conrad Murray, inconsistencies began appearing throughout his statements. Investigators compared his account with witness testimony, phone records, medical evidence, and physical findings from the scene. With each new discovery, additional questions emerged regarding the treatment Jackson had received during his final hours. The investigation eventually focused on whether accepted medical standards had been followed and whether critical mistakes had contributed to the singer's death. The unforgiving stage. Beyond the medical investigation, another factor continued to draw attention: the immense pressure surrounding the upcoming This Is It concerts. The ambitious series of performances was expected to mark one of the greatest comebacks in entertainment history. Rehearsals stretched late into the night as Jackson worked tirelessly to prepare for the demanding production. Yet those closest to him increasingly noticed signs of physical exhaustion. Colleagues described a performer who appeared unusually thin, fatigued, and vulnerable. Concerns about his health had already been expressed behind the scenes before tragedy struck. The empty sanctuary. By late afternoon on June 25th, an eerie silence had settled over Carrollwood Drive. The children had been removed from the property. Staff members were dismissed. Police officers secured the grounds while investigators moved through the mansion collecting evidence. Outside, helicopters circled overhead as news crews reported developments to a stunned world. Inside the residence, many personal belongings remained exactly where they had been left the night before. Meals sat unfinished. Rooms stood empty. The home that had once been filled with anticipation for a triumphant comeback had suddenly become the center of one of the most shocking events in entertainment history. In the weeks and months that followed, investigators, journalists, and fans would continue searching for answers. Yet even today, the final hours of Michael Jackson's life remain one of the most discussed and controversial chapters in modern music history.